As an immigrant, this story really hit home for me. Now, it seems that not everyone in Canada is on board the Pride train this month. In fact, some seem to be downright opposed to the indoctrination of their kids, so much so that Christian and Muslim parents demonstrated their opposition to LGBTQ plus indoctrination in Ottawa schools by uniting and having their kids stomp on pride flags. There is an old Arab saying that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and it appears now that both Muslim and Christian parents see this LGBTQ plus indoctrination as an existential threat to their kids. This is what happens, liberal leftists, when you go from live and let live like we used to now we must all affirm, celebrate, and participate. And if we don't, we'll get canceled. So why the recent outrage against all things pride? Well, Muslim outrage seems to have stemmed from a recent viral audio clip, which features an Edmonton high school teacher. In the leaked recording, the smug instructor can be heard berating innocent Muslim students in her class for not being adequately enthusiastic about pride and atypical sexual behaviors. Behaviors that their faith teaches them earn them a free trip to eternal hell instead of Disneyland, as the teacher would have them believe. The Londonderry school class was discussing Uganda's new super strict anti-homosexuality laws. Recently, lawmakers in that African country passed a law criminally prohibiting even identifying as LGBTQ+, upon a wildly lopsided vote of 398 in favor to 2 opposed. Now, this, of course, is a stark contrast to Canada, where if for some reason you don't think that a pride flag should be flown right along or above a Canadian flag, you're automatically told you're canceling and erasing gay people. Anyway, the triggered teacher noticed some students expressing sympathy for the Ugandans and for their right to have their own African culture without it being appropriated by busybody white female Canadians. You know, cultural colonialists. Their teacher didn't like that kind of sympathy for African culture. Not one single bit. And it sent her off the deep end, folks. If you believe that kind of thing, you don't belong here, the teacher said shrilly. She continued scolding the students, her voice rising and rising, explaining, "This is not what Canada believes. We believe in freedom. We believe people can marry whoever they want. This is in law. And if you don't think that should be the law, then you can't be a Canadian. You don't belong here, and I mean it." What could she have possibly meant by her saying, "You don't belong here"? Sounds a lot like deportation, no? The holier-than-thou teacher also informed the students that if they wished to be free to worship their Muslim faith without discrimination, there was an exchange and a price to be paid, and that would be that they must also joyfully participate in pride events. That's how it works, she said, teaching the students that religious liberties are earned by demonstrations of public support for fringe, atypical same-sex lifestyles that their faith would tell them are wrong. For some odd reason, the Edmonton parents who listened to the teacher berating their kids for not being gay enough felt sort of negative about it. I know, surprising. They sort of felt like the teacher was being manipulative, emotionally abusive, and pushing a gay agenda. Grooming. And unjustified threats didn't seem to sit too well with these Muslim families. The parents also questioned the teacher's understanding of basic civics. Well, how dare they? Since in a democratic system, as to their understanding, citizens who don't agree with laws are supposed to try to effect change, not be forced to move out, unlike, communist countries. Adding even more fuel to the fire and further angering sane parents, an Ottawa school board sent out a notice telling staff that when the new school year began, teachers should use they, them pronouns for all students by default. This way, they would accidentally avoid any misgendering and hurt feelings. Why? Well, first off, they're educators, folks. They're the smart ones. They know better than the parents of these kids. Secondly, didn't you get the memo? The kids actually belong to them. They're not yours. Applying their own asinine rules. Now, isn't calling someone they when their pronouns are he, him actually misgendering? Seems like the mentally challenged school board didn't really think this one through and came up with a draft rule guaranteeing that every student now would be misgendered. But then again, folks, they're experts and they're educators and, they're teaching your kids, so what do you expect? I put a link to the audio of the teacher in the notes section. Please share it with all your leftist, liberal friends who believe in multiculturalism and inclusivity. Ask them if this is an inclusive statement the teacher was making. Anyway, I do appreciate it. Please post any comments you have. You can also follow me on my Rumble and my Locals account. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. Also check out some of my past videos, and I will see you next time.